Anubis, eau de parfum by Papillon Artisan Perfumes, was first launched in 2014, and the perfume behind it is Liz Moore's. It comes in a 50ml bottle, which retails for £94. Anubis by Papillon Artisan Perfumes greets us with a really nice, tempered, sticky, black, tarry note that's slightly smoky too. Now that is underscored with a sheer, fleeting, bitter citric note that has a dark floral character to it as well. Also in the opening there's a really interesting clovey influence as well. It opens up a little camphorous in nature, but in the absolute nicest way possible. But right away that you can tell that this is a very dark, rich, heady scent, and given time, those aforementioned qualities really blend into the background very smoothly, and the fragrance slowly transmutes into this lush, opulent, magnificent, multi-layered, complex leather accord. Now the main body of this composition is a dark, warm, soft, rich, resinous, buttery leather that's very smooth. There's immortelle and saffron adding dark, treacly-like aspects to that leather as well. We have pink lotus and clove in there as well, giving a dark, earthly sense to proceedings. There's a little bit of smoke in there as well, just a whisper, but there is very sensual, smooth, animalic undertones to this leather accord, and it's so well put together and so well balanced. It never becomes too much, it never becomes overbearing, but at the same time it has this really nice narcotic vibe to it all, and that leather accord that's resinous and buttery and jasmine-y and has a dark treacly element to it is incredible. It is one of the best leather-like renditions, shall we say, that I've smelt in a fragrance to date. Now, after time, that all softens into something more akin to a dry, sweetened suede note that also has a very subtle, burnt, woodsy aura to it as well. It's still resinous, it's still buttery, but Anubis is now a lot less animalic. It's a lot more softer, more sensual than it was before, and it has a very addictive, druggy character to it as well. And it's much more humanistic and less animalistic than it was before. This is so well put together. It is complex, it's classical, it's deep, it's multi-layered. There's no real harshness, there's no unnecessary roughness to throw it off balance. It's not loud or dirty, so it appears as being appealing and refined, even to the average nose. Wear this on your skin and it's very glowy and sensual and emits a low growl. Definitely something to be taken seriously. It's a very thought-provoking fragrance. It's perfect for the cool and cold conditions. It's very much accessible. When worn in the cool and cold conditions, it acts as a shield against the elements, but also as a net to draw people in with. I think this fragrance would work really well in the evenings too. Age range, I would have to say 25 plus. But if you're a stylish, worldly sort of a person, male or female, you can pull this off with aplomb. Anubis has medium weight projection. On my skin it projected pretty decently for around 6 to 7 hours. Projection overall is not as much as I thought it would be, especially given the nature of this fragrance. And after the sort of 6-ish to 7 hour mark, it definitely settled in a lot closer to my skin. So for projection, I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. Now the sillage on this fragrance is really interesting. It's relatively soft, again, which is surprising given the type of fragrance that this is, but then that's because the ratio of natural and synthetic materials used in this is exactly 50-50. As Liz herself said in a really fascinating interview, if she'd used more synthetics, then the beauty of the natural materials would have been eradicated and Anubis essentially would have turned into a toxic bomb. So it could have been a much louder fragrance, but the trade-off I think actually works in Anubis's favour, because that soft sillage makes it a lot more wearable and increases the fragrance's versatility. For the first hour, first 45 minutes to 60 minutes of wearing this on my skin, yes, the sillage was quite noticeable, but then after that it softened considerably. So bearing that in mind, sillage I'm going to have to give a 2.5 out of 5. The longevity of this fragrance is both impressive and deceptive in equal measure, but then that's because of the medium weight projection, incredibly soft sillage. But in terms of longevity, this is really, really good. I got 14 hours plus easily out of the lifespan of the fragrance. Yes, it may not project for the longest period of time, but in terms of longevity, this is really, really, really impressive. Overall, longevity gets a 4 out of 5. Now for the overall smell, I think the overall smell is great. As soon as I got a whiff of this, my first reaction was wow, and this is coming from a guy who is not necessarily a fan of fragrances of this ilk, dark, leathery, smoky type fragrances. But this is really good. It's nuanced, it's complex, it's high quality, there's lots of twists and turns, and I like that deep, buttery, resinous, dark, treacly nature of the fragrance too. I find that really appealing. I guess there is a sense of familiarity to this as well, of a life well lived, of a road well travelled, and I guess in terms of the leathery aspects of this fragrance, I mean, this is so much more than just a leather accord. There's so much going on with this, but if the main body of the fragrance is a very complex leather accord, and I would compare that to a well-worn, well-loved leather item, like say a jacket or something, for example, that's seen you through kind of school, university, and further on into life. But this is a really nice fragrance, especially for the price, because this clocks in at just under £100, and in terms of smell, it beats out a lot of fragrances that have a much heftier price tag than this. But overall smell is great. A lot of positive feedback from people of wide demographics, and I really like this fragrance. So the overall smell, I'm going to have to give a 4.5 out of 5. So there you go, that's been my little review of Anubis by Papillon Artisan Perfumes. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Cheers for watching and take care.